Well, before we look at what's happening today, we should have a look at what's coming up. Today is the first day of Advent, getting ready for Christmas. So, what things are coming soon? Well, we've finished our series on Psalms and we're about to start a new series for the Christmas season, the story of the man whose message was coming soon. Makes sense, really. Someone who said, one more powerful than I is coming. The new series will be on John the Baptist. So in the lead up to Christmas, we'll look at the birth of John the Baptist. And in Luke's Gospel, that leads up to the birth of Jesus. Then in January, we'll look at what John the Baptist did as an adult, which led up to what Jesus did as an adult. So for the Christmas season, there's more as well. Our musicians are preparing an original song, especially for this Christmas. So look out for this, it will be coming soon. 1,000 voices singing through the night. I've heard some bits of it. You may wonder what that's about. Well, the musicians know. Everyone else is probably wondering. It's worth looking forward to. So back to this week. What are we doing this week? Well, it is our last week on the Psalms. We've got 6 Psalms we've already looked at. Today is the 7th. So this is a farewell to Psalms. And 7 weeks ago, we started with the idea that some of us have got brains that are 80% song lyrics. But of course, songs can be happy songs for good times, and they can be sad songs for sad times. And the Psalms do both, and we've looked at both over these weeks. And last week, Abraham guided us through Psalm 44, which is expressing confidence in God, but definitely in hard times. This week, we're finishing with the end of the series on the theme of joy and thanksgiving. So upbeat, because Psalm 100 is about joy. In fact, it's got its own name. The song has for centuries been known as Jubilate Deo, which is the Latin version of the beginning of the psalm. Rejoice in God. In a moment, we'll hear the psalm performed from the Message version, but which is American, if you can cope with that, but also more dramatic. But before we get the dramatised version, let's just notice the psalm. It's short, only 5 verses. A psalm for giving grateful praise. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name. For the Lord is good, and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. So this is a song for good times. But actually, coming into God's presence and thanking him is something we should do and can do even in tough times. The Jews had festivals at various times of year, and they would come and sing praise to God, whether times were good or times were bad. And this week we had on Thursday Thanksgiving, an annual festival in America on the 25th of November, which is a harvest festival. And whether your harvest was brilliant or just some, either way, whatever we have, we give thanks to God for. Of course, we do it a bit different in India. There's all kinds of different harvest festivals in different parts of our nation, with all kinds of different food for Onam, which was a couple of months ago, or for Pongal, which is in a couple of months' time. The harvest festivals are scattered through the year because of different harvests. And Psalm 100 is good for any of those. It's not particularly a harvest festival psalm, but that sense of coming into God's presence with joy is something we're probably most used to at times like harvest. If you're from a community who are close to the soil, involved in growing things. And if you're a townie and you're not used to agriculture, maybe the things to give thanks to God for are a little different. After all, this psalm says, shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. That means everyone, all kinds of people everywhere. So how do we join in? Well, this is an invitation to all nations to join in, which is where we started our series with Psalm 67. And everyone is invited. This is not intended to be good news for one nation because they've defeated another, so that what is good news for one group of people is bad news for another. Psalm 100 is good news for everyone to join in with. It's not a competition, it's a collaboration. It's like an opportunity for everyone to sing together, whoever they are. So if you're a townie, perhaps just that you have a job, if you have one, that you still have food on your plate somehow, even if it's been tough for the last couple of years during the pandemic. And I want to move on to that phrase, we are the sheep of his pasture, because being with the shepherd is a good thing. And in good times, the shepherd is a comfort. But in bad times, it's all the more important to be right with your shepherd, to have your shepherd right with you, protecting and guiding and seeing you through those tough times. So we've had almost a couple of years now of pandemic, of lockdowns, of struggles, of knowing people who've been ill, of knowing people who've died. Things have not gone yet. There's still struggles in different parts of the world. Thank God things are better in India. Things are better in Bangalore. But during the pandemic, I've had my father-in-law pass away in our own home. The restrictions on travel meant I've only been out of Bangalore twice, once for 3 days, once for 3 days, once for 2 days, only locally. Travel has been hard. And yet, even stuck at home, I've known that God is with me. So through these tough times, have you known that God is with you? Have you known that the harder things get, the more you can turn to God in prayer and praise, in trust, even in tough situations, as Abraham told us last week? It's times when there are wolves prowling that you most want to be close to your shepherd and thankful to him and thankful for him. So as we're beginning to emerge from tough times, let's pray that that continues. And let's think of the good things there are to thank God for. We're going to spend a bit of time singing, a bit of time praying, a little bit of news coming as well. Let's notice the things that we have to shout for joy to the Lord.